what's happening, guys? During December, Sony Hack Attack, some spicy details about the potential deal between Sony and Marvel were revealed, such as, at some point, Sony might be allowed to use certain MCU characters in their own Spider-Man films. Unfortunately, the big release over at Marvel.com did not specify that, so it's still up in the air whether we'll see Spidey fight among Hawkeye or Black Widow in his solo film. Just like with everything else, there's another side of the coin to this possible deal, which is, will Marvel use some of the characters from Spidey's villains gallery and overall Spidey's characters in their own MCU films? The big bad Thanos is a major problem, but that is right until Phase 3. But who or what the new Avengers, among which Spidey, are going to fight in Phase 4? Let's go through top 5 Spider-Man characters to appear in Marvel Cinematic Universe. Number 1, Jonah Jameson. While the tabloid newspaper is a huge part of Spidey's world, it's also a big part in Marvel Universe as a whole. Not surprisingly, we still haven't seen any Easter eggs or a mention of JJ or the Bugle in any MCU films. But now, as Sony and Marvel has joined forces, the chances are pretty high, especially since one of the upcoming Marvel films will cover the Civil War storyline. During the Civil War storyline, Bugle provided in-depth coverage of all the recent events in a world where heroes are now fighting other heroes, with the biggest headline being Peter Parker revealing his superhero identity, with one-shot edition of Daily Bugle, Parker You're Fired, released shortly after the big reveal. While Kevin Feige already confirmed that Civil War storyline won't focus around the Superhero Registration Act, which triggered the conflict between Iron Man and Captain America in the first place, Marvel still might throw the big reveal, even though the excitement value for all the fans and the audience won't be that high. I mean, this is the new Spidey first introduction role, why should we care if he revealed his identity, right? Now, if this happens, who else if not JJ will provide the biggest and most hilarious outrage in MCU world? But it might not happen for a bunch of other reasons. First being, Spidey's secret identity is one of his trademarks as a superhero, so even though almost not a single character in MCU has the secret alter ego, Spidey will definitely have one. So if he does reveal his identity, Marvel will have to throw storyline and erase world's collective memory of who Spider-Man really is, and that's not happening, let's be honest here. But then again, there are some alternative ways of erasing memories of who Peter Parker is during the future MCU films, which might be introduced with the upcoming small flick called Doctor Strange. Getting back to JJ appearing in MCU, besides his part in the Civil War storyline, Daily Bugle and JJ are just one hilarious and interesting element Marvel might need the most, especially with the possible introduction of the new Avengers in Phase 4. Who else if not JJ will talk shit about Earth's mightiest heroes, especially since his wall crawler friend is now a part of it. Plus, recently J.K. Simmons revealed that for the 10th time that he wants to reprise his role as Jameson. J.K. Simmons in MCU as JJ, wouldn't that be a dream coming true? Number 2, Norman Osborn. If you think that Norman Osborn is best known for ruining Peter's life, think twice. Norman is just as big player in the whole Marvel universe as he is in Spidey's world. During the Dark Reign storyline, Norman Osborn blasted to the top of the United States government. He became very powerful. He took over the Shield, renamed it to Hammer, and became his quest for the ultimate power. Even though there's no more Shield in MCU, at least for now, they still can make Osborn a big bad at some point, especially with Phase 4 after the defeat of Thanos. One of the ways of doing so would be Dark Avengers, a team of bad guys disguised as superheroes, with the lead of Norman Osborn himself. Besides, what would be a better way of introducing Miles Morales than killing Peter Parker? Yeah, I know it's too early, but at some point even the freshly baked Spidey actor, who we still have no idea about, will have to resign from his position, which might lead to Miles Morales taking over the mantle. And in case you forgot, Ultimate Norman Osborn, with the help of his sidekicks, was the one who escaped through Scalem prison, killed Doc Ock, infiltrated New York City, came to Forest Hills and faced Spidey, a battle which eventually resulted in the death of Spider-Man. Yes, I do believe that Marvel will have balls to do that, but it's a very long shot. Until then, we'll be enjoying our new Spidey for many years to come. That being said, Norman would be a great addition to Marvel family and a perfect baddie for a new Avengers to face off in Phase 4. Number 3, Venom. Yes, in terms of Venom, me and Avi Arad share a lot of common. I just like Venom so much. In case you've already seen my top 5 villains for a Spider-Man reboot, You might already know why I'm looking forward towards the introduction of Venom in Marvel Cinematic Universe. Besides being a great villain to fight alone, Venom's introduction just simply brings so much more. We've been dying to finally see Carnage on the big screen for years, and what's better way than introduce him than the Planet of the Symbiote storyline. In case you don't know, the origin of Black Suit is far more interesting than it has been presented in most of the Spidey cartoons, films and other media. Planet of the Symbiote reveals that the Black Symbiote, Venom Symbiote, is actually a part of a huge family of the symbiotes. There's a whole symbiote race which wants to dominate the whole universe. Venom symbiote is actually an underdog, if you want to call it like that. He gets exiled from his own family for obvious reasons. The other symbiotes were afraid of his dark potential, considered him a threat, just simply the fact that he's uncontrollable and unpredictable. You see, the main purpose of the symbiote race is domination, and Venom, well, he has his own interest, being a fan of bonding to different hosts and possession. Only later on he comes across Peter Parker during the Secret Wars storyline, where Spidey, who damaged his costume during the battle, believed that he found a magic costume generator. Yeah, just like in video games. Accidentally he frees the symbiote and brings it to Earth. The introduction of Venom might eventually lead to introduction of his offspring Carnage. And who else if not Marvel can do it right? Captain America the Winter Soldier proved to be the darkest Marvel film yet. With this serious tone and fantastic writing, same can be done with the introduction of Cletus Cassidy in MCU. And even though we'll never see Carnage ripping people's bodies apart, they still can make it pretty dark and exciting. Besides, once we're done with Venom and Carnage, the symbiote can continue his journey through MCU by finding another hosts, such as Meg Gargan or Flash Thompson. The second one leads to the possibility of Agent Venom's story in MCU, which is also pretty exciting. Anyway, the introduction of Venom is a must for MCU and brings a lot of great potential material to the whole Marvel universe. Number 4, Miles Morales. Conveniently, this spot follows my speculation of the death of Spider-Man's story arc. Once again, this is a superb long shot, if we're talking about Miles Morales taking over Peter's mantle. But what a damn great twist that would be. By the time of the 4th Spider-Man on the big screen, once the new one will resign, like somewhere in 2025, hopefully, what's better way to give this fresh feel to the audience than by introducing Miles Morales, one of the most prominent and controversial characters in Marvel's universe in the last years. The debut of Miles Morales was a huge success. Just as Peter, he's a typical underdog who's the second to get beaten by a mutated spider. Ever since 2011, gained a huge fan base among younger readers, and not only. He's just as reliable as Peter, if not more. And even if the whole death of Spider-Man's story arc is just my twisted fantasy and will never happen on the big screen, they can always throw a TV series. How great that would be! It's MCU we're talking about. The success of Agent Carter and upcoming Daredevil just proves that Marvel managed to adapt as good to the TV as to the big screen. And finally, with the introduction of Doctor Strange, we'll be introduced to other dimensions, which is another possibility of bringing Miles to the big screen as well. I mean, 2 Spideys in one film is better than one, right? Spider-Verse, anyone? And number 5, the Jackal. Prepare for a mind blow. I'm a huge fan of the original Clone Saga. Yeah, sure, this story is overstretched and became a bizarre tale over the years, but boy, how it all started. Professor of biochemistry at Empire State University, Miles Warren falls in love with one of his students, Gwen Stacy. Then Gwen Stacy dies and Warren blames Spider-Man for her death. But since he's so good at biochemistry, he then decided to clone Gwen Stacy. Eventually, it all failed and Warren made himself a friend who's a giant huge frog. He became insane and boom, the Jackal is born. Alright, that's a complete mindfuck, and even Marvel won't be able to bring such a backstory to the big screen. But a good writer can make something out of it. The reason I want Jackal so bad is because he's the one who eventually creates the infamous Ben Reilly, the clone of Peter Parker. Scarlet Spidey, Ben Reilly, Kane, just as Carnage must appear on the big screen at some point, and I don't care how the hell they're going to do this. Besides, years passed and during the culmination point of the original Clone Saga, we learned that this whole story with Jackal was actually a part of a bigger revenge plan, and guess who organized that? Yep, Norman Osborn, coming back from the dead. Jackal and the Clone Saga can be interesting material for the future MCU, if done right, of course. So tell me, what's your top 5 Spider-Man characters, Spider-Man villains to be introduced in MCU, and can any of them be actually a bigger threat to the whole Marvel universe and to the new Avengers? Thanks for watching, let me know what you guys think, and I'm off for now.